revealed secrets of the divine journey. The miraculous transformation of a sacred old soul. Evelyn's home was a sacred haven, adorned with flickering candles and fragrant lilies, the air heavy with an atmosphere of hope and whispered prayers. At 75, she was the heart of the village, revered not just for her age, but for the unwavering faith she exuded like golden rays on a summer's dawn. Each evening, as twilight draped the land, her voice would rise in prayer. And how the village would gather! They came from every lane and byway, rushing towards St. Jude's church, their hearts beating in time with the tolling bells. But now, as Evelyn lay frail and silent, faith was trembling on shaky ground. The doctor's foreboding words echoed in their minds: she might not see another dawn. Murmurs of doubt crept like vinue across the hearts of her loved ones, who had always leaned on her unyielding spirit. Could it be, they whispered, that prayer alone isn't enough? Evelyn's dimly lit room felt even smaller in the shadow of her illness. The once vibrant blooms began to wilt outside her window, and with every toll of the church bells, a haunting sorrow cast its pall over the village. Yet, hope flickered, spurred on by a prophetic voice during the prayer vigil, promising a miraculous turnaround for Evelyn. Some clung to this word, while others raised brows laced with skepticism. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That night, the village gathered outside her door, clutching rosaries and candles that flickered like their trepidation. The air was thick with prayers unspoken, breaths held tight in collective anticipation. Thomas, Evelyn's grandson, stood apart, wrestling with a whirlwind of doubt. He had been one of them, the firm believer. Now he felt lost, like sunlight swallowed by a storm. Yet, amidst their fear, moments of unexpected light broke through. A lady from the village shared a story of a healing a lost child found, recovered from the brink, right after a night of fervent prayer. Others recounted whispers of angels that had come to visit, their presence felt in the rustle of leaves or the sudden warmth in a chilling breeze. Each tale drew them closer together, weaving a tapestry of faith clashing with skepticism, attempting to stitch their hearts back into wholeness. Then, darkness succumbed to dawn. The world awoke anew. The village was alive with buzz as the sun broke free from the horizon. In Evelyn's room, something ethereal stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, glimmering, as if brushed with starlight. Light poured from her frail form, pulsing vibrant colors, cascading warmth that enveloped her like a heavenly mantle. And with one breath, Evelyn rose, transformed, a living testament to the impossible made possible. What did this mean? As village folk rushed to witness the miracle, joy erupted. Yet an unanswered question hung like a heavy mist. Was it a divine intervention or mere luck? Their hearts beat as one in wonder, brimming with faith yet still grasping for understanding. The community held its breath on the precipice of the unknown, ready to explore the mystery that was now their beloved Evelyn, a sacred old soul reborn. As Evelyn stood, the vibrancy of life flowed from her, weaving through the hearts gathered in awestruck admiration. The candlelight flickered brighter, dancing in rhythm with the joy that swept across the room. Those eyes, once dimmed by age and weariness, now sparkled to them. She was not only a woman but a vessel of the miraculous. Thomas felt a swell in his chest. He moved closer, heart pounding. Had he been wrong to doubt? The stories that once seemed just tales now echoed with a new fervor in his mind. His grandmother's smile, illuminating the room, whispered the promise of hope he'd lost. With every step towards her, the heaviness began to lift, replaced by an indescribable warmth wrapping around him like a soft blanket. "Grandma!" The word escaped him breathlessly. He reached for her hand, still trembling. It felt as if he were touching the very essence of life. Tears brimmed in his eyes. How are you? I am here, my child, she said softly, her voice like a wise lullaby. The Lord has shown me the way. Her words radiated peace, calming the storm that had brewed inside him. But not everyone shared in the unfiltered joy flooding the room. Outside, as whispers of a miracle spread, so did skepticism. A few villagers exchanged wary glances. It cannot be, insisted a man in the back, shaking his head fervently. A trick of the light, perhaps? Or an illusion created by desperation. But as the warmth of Evelyn's transformation spread, so did an unexpected boldness among the crowd. The questioning began to dissolve as stories of faith interlaced with Bryant's doubt. One by one, the villagers shared testimonies of hope and healing they had either experienced or witnessed. They spoke of prayers answered in ways they never expected, tiny miracles that had been overlooked, nudging the boundaries of their understanding. Hours passed in this ebb and flow of fervent discussion and prayer. Each retelling, each declaration, knit the village closer. In the corner, Evelyn's friend, Agnes, knelt down, her hands raised in surrender. She whispered, "Thank you, Lord. You have shown us. Open our eyes to see the wonders." Evelyn's heart swelled further. She understood their hesitance, their human struggle. There was a lingering fear of the intangible, the uncertainty that clung to their very beings. "Goddess grace often dances in places we least expect," she sighed. "We must unlock the door of our hearts and let faith take flight." In that moment, a hush fell over the gathering. It felt sacred, a communion of shared wonder, a unified breath of what faith can be. As the silence wrapped around them, Thomas looked into his grandmother's radiant face and felt a surge of clarity. "Grandma," he whispered, "can you teach us how to believe again?" Evelyn chuckled lightly, brushing a hand against his cheek. "Belief begins with the stories we tell ourselves. We must remember that love is the very essence of faith, and in sharing our stories, we reinforce the threads that bind us." The village seemed to hold its breath, each person feeling the weight of her words. What could they learn from this divine moment, interwoven with the fabric of their lives? But even as hope began to rise like morning dew, shadows of uncertainty lingered. Thomas felt a deeper question stir within him. What lay ahead for Evelyn? Was this miraculous transformation simply the beginning of something greater? Gathered as one, they too would need to journey into the unknown, hearts open to whatever the divine had in store, whether it be trials, triumphs, or lessons yet to unfold. The evening settled into night, and underneath the vast, stars-studded sky, the villagers understood they stood on sacred ground. The door to exploration had opened wide before them, and as they stepped through, a rhythmic pulse of expectancy thrummed within each heart, echoing the call to deeper faith. What awaited them on this new path? Perhaps a revelation that would shift their understanding forever. The night deepened, cloaking the village in a serene stillness. Stars twinkled brightly, as if heaven itself had opened its eyes to watch over them. A soft breeze whispered through the trees, carrying with it a sense of mystery and wonder. Evelyn, radiant and vibrant, surveyed the faces surrounding her, each one illuminated by flickering candlelight, each one a beacon of hope. "Listen to the rhythm of your hearts," she urged gently. "It has the power to lead us." Her voice, though soft, resonated with an inner strength that seemed to wrap around them like a warm embrace. Thomas felt the energy in the air shift, tinged with anticipation. "Evelyn," he asked, his voice breaking slightly, "what comes next? How do we proceed from here?" Evelyn smiled knowingly, and in her eyes, Thomas sensed a spark of something profound. "We must first seek the truth that lies within us. It is there that we'll find the clarity we need." As others listened intently, a young woman stepped forward. "But what if we are afraid? What if we stumble?" Her voice wavered as uncertainty clouded her brow. "Fear can only hold us captive if we let it," Evelyn replied, her gaze steady and encouraging. "Love is our strength. Remember, when we step in faith, the divine holds us close. Together we break free." With her words, the flickering flames around them danced fiercely, the shadows of doubt retreating. One by one, Others began to share their fears and reservations, unveiling vulnerabilities that had long kept them in silence. Agnes, holding her heart, voiced her struggle. "I've seen so much suffering. How can I reconcile this with the wonder we have witnessed tonight?" Evelyn's eyes softened with understanding. "Our journeys are complex, dear Agnes. Each trial serves a purpose, weaving a tapestry of growth and resilience. Even in darkness, the faintest glimmer of light can guide us home." A meditative stillness settled over them as they processed her words. The collective breath of the villagers held weight, hanging thick with a resolve to embrace the journey ahead. Thomas looked around him, each familiar face transformed by the shared promise of renewal. Hope blossomed, and in that moment, he felt less like a boy and more like a witness to a sacred unfolding. "Let us pray," Evelyn suggested, lifting her voice into the night. The villagers joined hands, forming a circle of unity. "In this space, let faith be ignited. Let love abound amid our fears. May we open ourselves to the divine opportunities that await." With every whispered prayer, warmth surged through the circle. Tears flowed freely, the burdens they had carried unshackling at the feet of grace. A beautiful sacredness enveloped them, weaving a fabric of connection that pulsed with life. Suddenly, a bright flash of light burst forth from the center of the gathering. Gasping, the villagers turned their eyes to Evelyn, who stood aglow, her spirit seemingly illuminated from within. "What is happening?" Thomas whispered, clutching Agnes's arm. "I believe," she began, breathless. "It's a sign. The power of God working among us." Evelyn opened her arms wide as radiant light enveloped her, casting shimmering reflections on the faces of her family and friends. The fear that once gripped them melted away, replaced by an exhilarating pulse of faith. "Do not be afraid," Evelyn proclaimed, her voice ringing clear through the air. "For in this moment, we are transformed. This is only the beginning. The depths of our faith have yet to be revealed." As the energy around them crescendoed, Thomas felt a trembling in his heart. What would come next? What awaited them on this journey of faith? And in this powerful atmosphere, that lingering question hung in the air, heavy yet exhilarating. What revelations would dawn as they continued into the unknown? The air buzzed with an electric energy, thick with expectancy. Thomas felt it coursing through him, like the gentle surging waves of the ocean. The light surrounding Evelyn pulsed with a rhythm, almost as if responding to the very heartbeat of the villagers. In that moment, he understood that they were on the brink of something extraordinary. Evelyn's voice cut through the stillness again, rich and full of conviction. "Look at the light. It reflects what we each carry inside. It is not just my glow. It is the light of each one of you, of our collective faith." The villagers, captivated, gazed at her as if she were a beacon in their darkness. A murmur rippled through the group, faces lit with wonder. Thomas could see the realization dawning on Agnes's face, as she too connected with the brilliance around them. As they stood together, hand in hand, laden burdens began to feel lighter. It was as if their shared fears were casting off like autumn leaves in a brisk breeze. Evelyn pointed towards the sky, her eyes reflecting the stars above. "Just as these stars shine brightly, so too do your spirits. Each moment of darkness only serves to remind us of the light we carry." The connection between them deepened, hearts weaving together like threads in a grand tapestry. Thomas felt tears welling in his eyes, feeling the weight of love not just for those around him, but a love that transcended their individual struggles, binding them to something larger. "Raise your voices with me." Evelyn's command was buoyant, resonant. "Let us sing praises of our gratitude. Let us celebrate this journey, no matter how uncertain it may seem." They began to sing, each note a testament of faith. Their voices soared into the night, mingling with the soft breeze that wrapped itself around the village, a chorus of hope filling the air. With every word sung, the light around them grew even brighter, illuminating the darkness like the dawn breaking after a long night. But as joy spread through the crowd, a flicker of doubt pinched at Thomas's heart. Would this light last? What if the morning came and shadows returned? As if sensing his fear, Agnes squeezed his hand tightly, her grip steadying him. "Remember, Thomas, the depths of our faith are revealed in both celebration and uncertainty. Keep your heart open." The song swelled, transforming into a prayer of surrender. Heads tilted back, faces shining with joyful tears. In this sacred moment, a voice in the crowd rose, strong and clear, echoing the long-held questions of many. "But what if we can't maintain this light? What if we falter again?" Evelyn turned to the speaker, her gaze piercing yet tender. "Oh, dear one, faith is not about being unshakable. It is about rising again every time we fall. It is the ability to remember the source of our light. If we stumble, we rise together." Thomas felt renewed strength rise within him, a flicker of courage igniting in his chest. He sensed others feeling the same fire, a solidarity binding them all as one. And then, from the depths of the gathering, a new energy surged, something tangible yet indescribable. It was as if the air itself crackled with divine promise. "Now is the time to look within." Evelyn beckoned. "Each of you has a gift. Let it shine. Let it breathe life into this village. We are the architects of our journey. We will sketch the shapes of hope upon the canvas of the universe." The flickering flames in each heart began to align, becoming brighter amidst their unity. With a rush of understanding, Thomas realized the journey ahead was not merely to travel, they were to transform. He was filled with unwavering resolve and an unexplainable excitement for the revelations yet to come. And as the night grew deeper, the villagers stood in communion, eager embraces of hope, prepared for whatever would unfold. Evelyn's next words lingered in the cool air, heavy with promise. "What will be revealed when we dare to step into the light?" With those words hanging in the ambience, an exhilarating question loomed over them, shrouded in divine mystery, beckoning them into the depths of their journey ahead. As the villagers continued to sing, Evelyn raised her hands, encouraging them to push even higher into the resonance of their faith. The warmth enveloped them like a delicate shawl, wrapping them in comfort while infusing their spirits with divine assurance. Thomas looked around, witnessing transformations taking flight. Faces once clouded by doubt now shone with a rekindled fire that sparkled in their eyes. Suddenly, Evelyn knelt down, her head bowed, and the villagers followed suit, a wave of quiet humility washing over them. In that sacred stillness, Thomas felt a gentle whisper brush against his heart, coaxing forth the deepest truths. It was the voice of something much larger, a presence begging to be acknowledged, a melody of grace. "Listen," Evelyn began softly but with conviction. "In this stillness, we invite the Holy Spirit to move among us. Let each of us reach deep within, to uncover that which has lain dormant, waiting for this moment." The air grew thick with anticipation as the villagers held their breath. In the silence, Thomas closed his eyes, focusing on the beating of his heart, a steady reminder of his connection to this sacred gathering. He breathed deeply, feeling layers of worry peel away. The music of their hearts intertwined, and he sensed the emergence of hidden gifts among them. Some had a kind spirit, others a fierce strength, and yet others had a joyful laughter that could conquer fear. Suddenly, Agnes broke the silence. "I feel it," she exclaimed, a burst of joy igniting within her. "The love we share, it's older than we know. It flows back through generations, it is always here." With every voice raised, "We sing not just for ourselves," Evelyn added, eyes glimmering, "but for those who have come before us and those who will follow. Our light ignites a legacy. Together we are a chain unbroken." The villagers nodded, affirmation rippling through the crowd like water through a stream. Thomas felt his heart swell. The realization that their stories intertwined was breathtaking. They were not alone. They were part of a divine tapestry, a masterpiece woven throughout time. As the momentary silence deepened, a soft glow cast itself around Evelyn, bathing her in warmth. The villagers looked upon her with awe, captivated by the transformation unfolding within their midst. "Now let us share," Evelyn implored. "Let each person speak their truth, their light. This is where we find our strength." Voices began to rise, each sharing what their heart revealed. Old tales mingled with new dreams. A man spoke of faith that had lasted through trials, while a young woman shared her hope for a better future. Every heart revealed a piece of the larger puzzle, mirrored realities that touched the layers of their shared humanity. With every word, Thomas felt lighter, a smile breaking on his lips as joy surged anew. They were mending past wounds, forming connections that ran deeper than blood. They were becoming not just a community but a family bound by faith and love. As the last voice fell into a harmonious hush, an unfamiliar stillness embraced them. It was a moment suspended in time, pregnant with potential. What if this moment is the key? Thought Thomas. What if our shared experiences unleash the extraordinary? But just then, Evelyn's demeanor shifted. A flicker of uncertainty crossed her face as she spoke again. Tonight, we have begun our ascent into divine revelation. But we must also face the shadows lurking behind us. What unhealed wounds do we carry? What darkness threatens to extinguish our flame? Her question echoed hauntingly in the minds of the villagers. Thomas's heart quaked with thoughts of his own past burdens, the things he had yet to face. The enticing mystery of their future was now entwined with the solemn reality of their present. What lay beyond this night? How would they confront the shadows that dwelt within? The question lingered in the air, a gentle whisper beckoning them to delve deeper into introspection, into communion, into the unveiling of their true selves. And as they stood on the cusp of this awakening, the air shifted once more, hinting at the miracles waiting to unfold. What awaited them when they ventured deeper into the light? The silence stretched like an unbroken cord, drawing every ear, tenderly poised between fear and hope. Thomas felt the weight of ageless memories hovering just beyond reach, beckoning him to explore forgotten corners of his soul. The warm glow that surrounded Evelyn flickered softly, illuminating the faces of his fellow villagers, revealing uncertainty mingled with yearning. Evelyn's voice pierced the stillness once more. The past is woven into our lives, but it does not define us. We stand here together holding the keys to our healing. Her words were like fire, igniting a spark that spread through the crowd. What if these shadows are merely reflections of the strength yet to be realized? Agnes raised her hand, expressing a boldness that surprised even herself. What if we share our struggles too? Not just our joys, but the heaviness we carry? Her vulnerability hung in the air, an offering at the altar of honesty. A murmur spiraled through the group, some heads nodding in affirmation. Yes, let us cleanse our hearts, said an elderly man named Walter. I have been rooted in fear for too long. I lost my way after my wife passed. The darkness seeped in, making me forget that love could revive me. Soft gasps filled the space, and many reached out to touch Walter's hand, drawing him into the collective warmth. In that moment, Thomas felt the pulse of oneness. Each confession resonated like ripples across the water, touching even the most hidden fears buried deep within. That's bravery, Walter. Thomas exhaled, the words bursting forth. I too have fears. I freed my dreams in the past, thinking it was the right thing to do. But it only led me into despair. What I buried was my longing for purpose. His chest tightened with the admission, yet it felt freeing, like a weight lifted from his spirit. The group began talking among themselves, voices overlapping yet harmonizing. Each heartfelt story wove a vibrant tapestry of shared human experience. They were grappling with the shadows, revealing their scars in the light of community. Evelyn noticed how a soft blue light emanated from somewhere deep within the gathering, illuminating the corners where sadness had once cast its veil. It danced, reflecting the freedom in their expressions, and she dared to speak again. The beauty we cloak in darkness yearns to be released. Facing our fears is just as sacred as celebrating our joys. And as they echoed her affirmation, a mystical energy fluttered through the gathering. The spark of bravery ignited in each heart. These tales of sorrow hung not as burdens, but as the very stitch that bound them to one another. One by one, more shared their truths, confessing lost dreams, regrets, and the shadows that seemed to cling like cobwebs. Each vulnerability offered a lightening of spirits, a lifting of hearts. They began to see that their personal battles, when shared, were a catalyst for collective awakening. Within this sacred space, transformation began to unfold. Some wept, releasing tears that shimmered under the glow of Evelyn's light, while others laughed in joyous release of their suppressed hopes. Thomas felt a stir in his heart, longing for deeper truths somewhat unspoken. Every lament brings us closer to release, he thought, with a dawning realization that healing was never meant to be walked alone. Yet, as bonds tightened, a shadow managed to assert itself. A soft whisper of doubt began to loom over him. What if the revelations we uncover only lead to more pain? The unsettling thought sank deep, curling around his spirit. The villagers pressed on, unaware of Thomas's inner struggle, their hearts now interwoven like vines engulfing an old oak tree. As they lay bare their hidden paths, would they emerge healed or find themselves in a deeper trial? Evelyn raised her hands toward the heavens once more. Let this communion be a conduit of grace. We must now dive deeper, for what awaits us beyond our fears? The question lingered, echoing in the hearts of those gathered, drawing them towards the mystery that awaited just beyond their grasp. Would they dare to venture into the depths of the unknown, exploring both the treasures and trials that resided within? The air felt electric, filled with possibilities untold. Thomas's heart raced. He studied the faces around him, some radiant, some shadowed, but all reflecting a courage that defied their fears. With every heart laid bare, they breathed truth into the fragments of their pasts. Dare we take this journey together? Evelyn's voice pierced through Thomas' hesitation like a lighthouse through fog. Her eyes sparkled with a celestial light, inviting and serene. Every story holds a key. Every tear shines as a hope waiting to unfurl. Walter nodded, gratitude etched onto his features as the resolve to heal rose within him. We each possess a piece of the greater puzzle. Our courage today can light the way for others. The community shifted closer together, creating a huddle of support. Thomas felt the energy rising, timeline after timeline woven, fears exorcised, souls craving renewal. In this moment, we uncover not just the darkness, but the brilliance hidden beneath, shouted a young girl named Clara, her voice bubbling with joy. We can be the fire that casts out shadows. Her enthusiasm was infectious. Thomas smiled for the first time that day, his anxiety loosening its grip. Evelyn looked around, drawing strength from the vibrancy surrounding her. Let us pray, each of us in our own words. Let us express what weighs us down, lifting it to the divine. As they closed their eyes, the world around them faded into a gentle whisper of rustling leaves. Murmurs filled the air, delicate as a prayer, lifting like incense toward the heavens. Each word shared was a thread weaving them closer together. Thomas found himself releasing his doubts, allowing the kaleidoscope of voices to wash over him. He whispered softly, Lord, grant me the strength to confront my shadows. Help me uncover my purpose, beyond this fear. As he spoke, images from moments past flooded his mind, triumphs and failures intermingled like threads in a tapestry. Yet, the more he surrendered, the closer he felt to the heart of God. When their voices faded, the silence returned, thicker and sweeter than before. It wasn't heavy, but rather filled with anticipation. Evelyn breathed deeply, her soul resonating with the power of their communion. We must listen now, she said gently, for it is in the quiet that clarity is revealed. The air thickened with expectation, as everyone leaned into that sacred silence. Then, like a ripple in a pond, clarity emerged. A vision formed, a beautiful cascade of light reflected their fears and aspirations. It glimmered like starlight, but beneath it revealed a pathway, a divine road leading to newly awakened truths. A chill ran down Thomas's spine. Peace washed over him like a baptism in still waters. What is this place? He wondered. The odd sense of belonging engulfed him. It felt as if hidden wisdom was now available to him, waiting to deconstruct his hesitations. Slowly, Evelyn began to speak. This is a call, a divine promise unveiled. It exists within each of us, waiting patiently for our hearts to open. We are invited beyond our fears into a realm where healing flourishes. At that moment, Thomas's breath caught as a profound awareness blossomed within him, this luminous knowing transcended words, stirring a deep longing to discover for himself what lay ahead. Will you allow the light to guide you? Evelyn's voice coaxed gently, rousing the group from their reverie, shaking loose yet another layer of uncertainty. Thomas opened his eyes, gazing into the faces of his friends and neighbors, witnessing an awakening. Yet, creeping back, the whisper of doubt clawed at his heart. What if I step into that light only to stumble in darkness once more? The question lingered, a haunting echo that would not be silenced. Would he dare take the leap into the unknown, trusting that the light would catch him? As the gathering drew breath, suspended in tension, the path to revelation shimmered faintly on the horizon. Was it too late to turn back? Or was it an invitation to embrace the light that had always been there, waiting to ignite their very souls? In this crossroads of faith, what awaited them on the other side? Evelyn held Thomas's gaze, her eyes filled with understanding. She stepped closer, her voice steady and warm. Sometimes the most profound step is simply to trust in the light that calls us forward despite our fears. The tension began to lift, replaced by a gentle nudge of hope. Around them, others whispered affirmations. Words of encouragement danced in the air like fireflies. Each murmur seemed to form a cocoon of support, wrapping Thomas in the warmth of shared faith. Let us take that step together, Walter echoed, his voice strong. He gripped Thomas's shoulder as if to anchor him, and a surge of camaraderie ignited their resolve. Together we are stronger. Together we face what awaits. With the clock ticking in the background, Thomas sensed the urgency of the moment. He took a deep breath, inhaling the fragrance of blooming hope, channeling it into his own heart. Could this gathering be the spark to something greater? Let us share our fears and our dreams, Clara suggested. Her enthusiasm radiated, infectious and bright. We cannot uncover the light until we reveal what we're hiding. One by one, the circle of souls began to share. Thomas listened intently, each story binding their hearts tighter. A woman spoke of loss, her hands trembling as she voiced her loneliness. An elderly man shared his regrets, the weight of missed opportunities palpable in his tone. As they revealed their innermost struggles, Thomas felt the universe shift. There was power in vulnerability, their burdens began to feel lighter. Each revelation offered a glimmer of light, striking the shadows where doubt had once taken residence. I've always believed in the beauty of transformation, Evelyn said, her voice rising gently. It's written all over our stories. Look at us, broken yet whole, weary yet hopeful. We can shine. In that moment, a wave of energy pulsed through Thomas. Eyes glistened with unshed tears as every heart began to echo the healing truth. He could feel the grace pouring in, suffusing the air with divine connection. Each pulse was a reminder of the promise that awaited just ahead. As silence enveloped their shared space once more, Thomas felt compelled to speak. There are shadows I carry, but I also feel the light beyond them. I see it in each of your faces. His heart surged with newfound courage. Together we can illuminate the way. What if we took the leap? What if we embraced the unknown together? A hush fell, thick with intention. Then, as if guided by unseen hands, they joined in a circle, holding hands, a fragile yet powerful link meant to unite them against doubt. The illumination of their combined faith surged like a dawn breaking the night. Lord, we stand together in this moment, Evelyn began. We choose to embrace our journeys, to witness each other's light amidst darkness. May we rise together and be transformed. The echo of her words cemented a new reality. As they prayed, Thomas's heart swelled with gratitude. He understood that fear was just the threshold. Behind it lay the divine invitation, a doorway leading to their true selves. The concept of walking into light, a bold yet beautiful reckoning, seemed less a burden and more a glorious surrender. After their prayer, moments of reflective stillness draped over them. They were suspended in a cocoon of peace, hearts opened and laid bare, yearning for the journey ahead. One by one they felt the call. Suddenly, a magnificent light flickered above them, casting warmth upon their skin. Everyone looked up, startled yet entranced. The divine resonance vibrated, calling forth a deeper awareness, beckoning them toward undiscovered mysteries. "What is that light?" Thomas breathed, wide-eyed with wonder. In the beating of collective hearts, the glow intensified, revealing not only the path ahead but also secrets of the spirit whispered just out of reach. As they stared in awe, anxious anticipation danced like butterflies in their stomachs. A divine mystery lay before them, and they were on the brink of discovering it. What awaited them beyond that threshold? Would they have the steadfastness to walk through and claim their transformation? The light shimmered, filling the air with both question and promise. As the radiant light above danced like a heavenly beacon, a hush settled over the group. Each member was enraptured, eyes wide, breaths held. The warmth that enveloped them was more than a physical sensation. It was a spiritual embrace, a reminder that they were not alone on this journey. "What is he calling us to?" whispered Clara, her voice barely a breath but heavy with awe. "I sense it's a test of faith," Walter replied, his grip on Thomas's hand tightening slightly, a reassuring gesture amid the uncertainty. A step into the unknown, where miracles await. The collective heartbeat of the group thudded rhythmically, charged with both fear and excitement. Thomas felt his own pulse racing in time with others. Each thump whispered a question. Would they really step into the brilliance that beckoned them? Evelyn, her face illuminated with hope, began to speak softly. "We've been brought here for a reason. This is not just light. It's an invitation to transform our pains into purpose. Let us not shy away from what we might discover." In her voice, Thomas heard the bellows of wisdom. Her confidence ignited a spark of courage within him. What if each of their stories, woven together, could create a tapestry that revealed the beauty beyond their scars? "Then let us embrace it together," he said, his voice growing stronger. "Let us trust in this light, believe in the unseen, and allow it to guide us. We have shared our burdens. Now, let us share our wings." As he spoke, Thomas noticed the nods around him, a symphony of agreement rising like a melodic hymn. A renewed energy seemed to flood their circle, nourishing their spirits with every heart's echo. The luminescence above pulsed gently in response, mapping out paths they had yet to explore. With every heartbeat, the air grew richer, thicker with meaning. Each flicker of light held the promise of resilience, healing, and wisdom yet to be known. "Lord, we are ready," Evelyn exclaimed, raising her hands toward the glow. The others followed suit, their palms directed upwards, open vessels yearning to receive. The luminous presence began to descend, filling the sacred space like the morning sun pouring through the trees. It enveloped them, yet it vibrated, each shimmer echoing the whispers of their souls, delicately urging them forward. And then, as if on cue, they stepped forward as one into the pool of light that hovered just beyond their reach. There was a moment of collective surrender. Fear began to dissipate like mist before a blazing sun. "What if this is where our true selves await?" Clara murmured, tilting her head back, drinking in the warmth. Her eyes sparkled with the anticipation of new beginnings. With every step deeper into the light, Thomas felt barriers within himself crack and fall away. A rush of countless emotions surged within, a delightful mix of fear and exhilaration. It was as if the very core of his being yearned to burst forth, to unveil the remnants of doubt long hidden in dark corners. But suddenly, the glow shifted, swirling like a tide. It shimmered and then divided, revealing two paths in distinct hues. One pathway gleamed in silken gold, warm and inviting, while the other shimmered silver, mysterious and cold. "Which way?" someone asked, a tremor lacing their voice. Thomas paused, the weight of their collective gaze heavy upon him. This moment felt monumental, a pivotal point along their shared journey. He could sense the weight of their hopes, fears, and dreams coalescing around his heart. "Each path leads to transformation," he whispered, feeling the gravity of the choice ahead. "But we must choose wisely. The unknown is often where true growth lies. And as he spoke, something deep within him stirred, a voice rising from the heart of the light, guiding them forward. What awaited them on either path? Would courage lead them into unknown depths, or would they cling to the light they already knew? The divine presence hovered, still and expectant, inviting their next move. As the villagers stood at the convergence of those two radiant paths, an air of tension mingled with hope thickened the atmosphere. Each flicker of light held a promise, drawing them closer to a revelation yet to be unveiled. Thomas felt a surge of clarity wash over him, as if the divine had ignited a fire within his spirit. "Let us not fear the unknown," Evelyn offered softly, as if reading his thoughts. Her gaze danced between the shimmering routes that lay before them, both waiting with outstretched arms. Faith isn't about certainty. It's about trust, trusting that every step taken is a leap into grace. The villagers listened, hearts pounding in unison, feeling the weight of her words cradle their hopes and fears. "Together we will choose," cried Agnes, stepping forward with fierce determination. "Together, we'll see where this divine light leads us." Thomas caught the fervor in her eyes, the strength igniting his own. "Yes, it's time to step into the light. We choose the path of transformation." His voice cut through the tension like a warm breeze on a cold night. As if on cue, each villager tightened their hold, a collective heartbeat echoing through the circle, resonating with acceptance and anticipation. They moved as one, casting their faith toward the golden path, arms raised high as if embracing the essence of their journey. As they began walking, the golden light intensified, wrapping around them like a soft cocoon, shimmering with warmth. "Look," a voice cried out. The beauty before them unfolded like petals blooming at dawn. Colors danced, swirling harmoniously, painting explicit images of love, joy, and healing, mirroring the very stories and hopes that dwelled within their hearts. "Is this what awaits us?" Thomas marveled, a tear escaping the corner of his eye as the magical display unfolded. "This is the manifestation of our shared faith." He was overcome by an indescribable joy, feeling the burdens of doubt and fear evaporate like mist under the sun. "Hold fast," Evelyn encouraged as the warmth pulsed stronger, sending waves of vibrancy through them. "The light is not merely a destination. It is a journey we are bound to embrace, illuminating our paths together." Indeed, as they ventured deeper, the shimmering light revealed hidden beauty visions of families reunited, voices once silenced bursting forth in laughter, and the wounded discovering strength in vulnerability. Each moment honorably carved itself into the fabric of their transformed souls. Thomas saw individuals discovering their gifts, inspiring others within the circle as well. Walter sang a melody of remembrance, invoking nostalgia and new beginnings. Clara danced, exuding joy that ignited life within all, and it inspired others to embrace their stories, pouring forth the verses hidden within their hearts. But amid their exuberance, a shadow loomed, whispering doubts. What if it fades? What if pain returns? Thomas wrestled with the encroaching fears, tension creeping back into his heart. Evelyn, perceiving his turmoil, reached out, her eyes sparkling with compassion. The essence of true faith is not in the absence of fear but in the embrace of it. When those shadows rise, we remind one another of the light we hold. Together, we create an everlasting flame of hope. Her words struck a powerful chord. With each step, the path illuminated the remnants of their journeys, healing deep-rooted scars. Even doubts seemed to transform into stepping stones, reminders of what they have overcome. As they reached a clearing bathed in radiant brilliance, the congregation halted, speechless before the vastness of divine manifestation that awaited them. There stood a magnificent tree, its branches reaching toward the heavens, draped in sparkling orbs of light. Each orb embodied a moment of love, sacrifice, joy, and healing. "This is our legacy," Thomas breathed, his voice choking with emotion. "Each orb holds a story, a testament to our journey. We are called to tend to this tree," Evelyn proclaimed, her voice resonating with authority and grace. "To nurture it with love, to share our gifts, and in doing so we shall continue our stories into eternity. What used to feel like the weight of uncertainty morphed into celebration. They gathered around the tree, hearts trembling with joy as they began to connect, sharing their gifts and planting seeds of hope, writing their future into every action, every word. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue upon their gathering, the collective breath of the villagers surged in the air, celebrating the beauty of courage that had fired up their spirits. Together, they had stepped into the light, embraced their journey, and began to transform their fears into strength, a divine manifestation made possible by faith, love, and unity. As night fell, they lifted their voices as one in joyous song, praising not only their miraculous journey, but the infinite potential within. Together we rise, forever illuminated, hand in hand, forever transformed. At that moment, as the stars twinkled brightly above, Thomas knew deeply within that they were never alone. They were bound to something far greater, something enduring, the sacred intertwining of hearts, igniting hope in all. And that, dear friends, was truly only the beginning of their story. Now, as you reflect on this profound journey, I urgently invite you to step forward. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive faith stories that will propel your spirit even higher. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It's crucial for keeping the light shining bright. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. Your voice matters. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this divine manifestation. This is the moment to show your support and be part of a growing community of believers. God's work continues through you. Don't wait even one more second. Let's uplift each other in faith.